Do you believe in ghosts?
Hello everyone, hello friends! You smell so good. Have you ever had something happen to you that you simply just can't explain? Well, I mean, that was simply my entire childhood, because I grew up in a house with I think about 12 ghosts. But from when I was a baby, 1 year old till I was 12, I lived in this big old house that was about 100 years old, maybe even more than that. It was a duplex, but years before they turned it into one big house, so then we had 2 staircases, 2 master bedrooms, it was cool. Very old house, very nasty kind of, to be honest. But it was a great house and I have very fond memories from that home. My parents bought it for cheap for their growing family, but there was a few things odd about the house, 3 of them to be exact. The day that they moved into the house, there was gunpowder all over the floor. When I was a baby, my mom said that she had to scrub me clean because she didn't realize how much nastiness was on the floor. There was a bullet hole on one side of our dining room wall that mom covered up with a china cabinet the whole time that we lived there. And probably the creepiest thing about the house whenever we moved in, and we kept it up till this day, hopefully it's still up because bad things happen when it comes down, is that there's this Jesus head of him on the cross hanging up on the wall, and behind it there is a prayer in Polish written in chalk on the wood. Now the attic was never completely finished and there was a bit of a fire in it at one point, so the wood that it was written on was a little bit charred. And the people that sold us the house warned us to never wipe off the chalk of the prayer and to never take the Jesus head down because bad things might happen if we do. The prayer in the Jesus head was put there for a reason, and my dad didn't exactly want to believe it quite yet. Alright, so here is a few ghost stories from my childhood. So as I mentioned, there was this Jesus head and this Polish prayer written upstairs in the attic. And when my parents moved in, they were warned, don't take it down, don't wipe off the prayer. A dad being a dad, he was just like, that's BS, I'ma take it down, I don't need this, I want to put a picture there. I don't need this Jesus there, I don't need this fear. My mom was kind of like, maybe it's a better idea if we keep it up. The guy did seem pretty serious when he said that we should keep up this little Jesus head thing. My dad was like, nah, that's bullshit, I'ma just take it down. So he takes the Jesus head and he puts it in the trash, and he puts it out on the street for the trash men to come and take it in the morning. We were relatively freshly moved in. There was progress being made, boxes were all over the ground, stuff like that, and all us kids were upstairs sleeping. It was probably around 10 o'clock at night. And when I say all us kids, it was just my older brother, my older sister, and me. Me being a 1-year-old baby, not even. Now my dad's a non-believer, but he always says that if there's one story that would probably get him to believe ghosts even more, it was this one and what's gonna happen next. So he's sitting down on the couch and my mom's in the kitchen, and from some unexplained force of energy, the front door just falls right open. It just wham, it opens like a gust of wind, except it wasn't any wind. And from what he understands, the door was locked whenever he closed that door. Now when that door opened, he could hear someone stomping through the room, but he couldn't see anybody, only hear it. And it stomped all the way up the stairs, and my dad followed it because he was like, what the heck's going up the stairs? He could hear it, an energy was just going right up the stairs, up to the room to where me and my siblings were sleeping. And by the time that he got there, nothing was there, and the energy and the force was gone. And he kind of looks around and he's like, I don't know what's going on, but he was convinced this was because he took that Jesus head down, and he went outside, grabbed it from the trash, and he put it back up, and nothing like that ever happened again. No front doors wailing open, and no strange energy threatening to hurt his children. And Dad was like, I'm not dealing with that anymore. So he put the head back up, and my whole childhood it stayed up. And my mom and dad was like, anytime you guys play in there, don't take it down. Always keep it up. Now this one's a little silly, but till this day I swear it was Ghost. So according to my parents, whenever they were looking at the house, there was a tabby cat that lived on the residence, but whenever they moved in, there was no cat. So they just assumed that it went away. There's plenty of feral cats in our community, but then they learned later that the cat actually died before they even moved in. Now I had a cat of my own, her name was Tippy, and she was wonderful, but I know what my cat looks like, so I was like a little concerned when I saw this other one. So it was late at night, it was probably around 9 o'clock. It was late for a 10-year-old, and my mom looked at me and said, hey, why don't you go over to the neighbor boy's house? Like, they're having a little bit of a party. Just go over, grab your shoes. I just got out of my shower, so I was like, are you sure? Can I go over? And they're like, yeah, just go over. It'll be a good time. So I go running upstairs to get my shoes, and I pick up my shoes, and I'm starting to put them on in my doorway when I look out the window. Now, my window didn't have anything for, like, it was just a straight wall. There was like nothing to put flowers on or anything to like climb into the window. There wasn't a porch head over. It was just a wall and a window. There was literally no way for anything or anybody to be out that window. It was just darkness. It should have been just darkness. But when I looked out this window, there was just this tabby cat sitting in it. And it looked like it was outside, and I could like see, like, it was almost like it wasn't even there. Like, it was a full apparition of a cat. And I looked at this cat, and this cat looked at me, and I was just floored and freaked out. And the cat seemed to be a little startled from me too, because it was just kind of staring at me like, and I was just like, I don't know what to feel about this. And like, you know, I put on my shoes and I ran right down the stairs, and I didn't really think nothing of it. But I probably saw a full apparition of a ghost kitty, and hi, ghost kitty. I mean, like, maybe now I wouldn't be too terrified of it, but as a 10-year-old, I was like, what the heck? How are you just floating there? Maybe there was something in the past to where the cat could sit on, and that's why I could see it there. But as of then, there was nothing for the cat. It was just floating there, hanging out on the window. Freaky. Now this one's my brother's story, and this is kind of something that we all laugh about. So when my brother, when he was about 6, he wakes up in the middle of the night and he's like, I gotta go pee. Now we had an upstairs bathroom, but he decided to go to the downstairs bathroom off the kitchen for some reason. And he goes waddling down the stairs and he goes to use the bathroom, and he's standing there peeing, and when he looks to his right, there's an old man just standing there peeing beside him. And it's like they were like crisscrossing like pee flows into the same toilet. And he's like, you know, standing there, like, you know, trying to like aim properly, but also like be like, what is this old man doing here peeing beside me? Now, like, there's like some theories about ghosts where like time just rubs up against each other and you see things from like different time periods. And that's what we think might have happened. Like, there was just some old man that lived in that house way long ago, and you know, it was probably whatever time zone, and he needed to go pee in the middle of the night, and there was some little ghost boy that he saw from the future just peeing beside him, and he's just like, what? Imagine that. Imagine it being like, you know, early 1900s, it's 1903, and you're peeing in your brand new house, and there's just a little ghost redheaded child just pissing beside you. I'd be concerned and a little frightened. So my brother finishes his business and buckles himself up and runs right back upstairs, and he's telling us all about it in the next morning, but all of us were like, that's a strange one. Wow. Now this one's a little hard to explain, but I'll try to explain it. Now, growing up, and whenever we bought this house, it came with the original skeleton keys. And as soon as we moved in, we're like, these keys are faulty, you know, they're old. Like, you know, this won't protect my family, so my parents got new doors and new keys. But we still had, like, the skeleton key. And we'd have it around, and it would be a prop for, like, you know, make-believe and stuff like that. It was like a fun little toy. And for a while, whenever we moved out of the house and I was feeling a little upset that we, like, were moving away, I took the key with us to where we were moving to remember the house. But before we moved out of this house, every single night, there was a noise around 9:30 that would just kind of, let me try to simulate it. It was kind of like a knock or something falling in the hallway every single night, kind of like, maybe like that, but it was just one noise every single night at 9:30, and you'd know it'd be 9:30 because almost every single night it happened. And I remember asking my mom growing up, what's that noise? Why does it happen every night? And she'd always just say, it's the hamper lid falling. Like, you know, we had a hamper at the end of the hallway, and it would kind of make that noise when it would like pop down. And she'd say, oh, you kids just left it open, and then it falls right around this time. And being children, we believed it, being like, okay, it's the hamper. But when we took this key out of the house and we moved into our new place here where we live now, we'd still hear that noise every single night. And we were older then, I was around 12, 13, and I was like, Mom, I still hear that noise every night, but we didn't bring the hamper with us to where we moved to. And that's when she confessed, being like, I'm not sure what that noise is, but I don't think it was the hamper. And we were all kind of looking at each other, was like, well, maybe, like, you know, it's like, is it something that we brought that might be haunted? Is it something that we shouldn't have, that should have stayed in Newcastle with the house? And we're thinking, and I'm like, well, I brought the skeleton key from the home. from our childhood home. And Mom's like, well, you gotta put it back because that's what's following us here. Like, how are we supposed to know that's, like, you know, that noise is supposed to be here with us? So eventually we went back to visit and we put the key back underneath the porch of the house. No one was living in it no one was living in the house yet, and you know, it was just laid abandoned, and I stuck the key underneath the porch. And when we went back home that weekend, we never heard that noise again. So it had to have been something that was connected to the key that was supposed to be in the house. So we just left the key there. So sorry to whoever might live in that house now. You might be having a knocking every at 9:30. I hope that made sense. Key made knocking, that was paranormal, got rid of key, no more knocking. But alright, I can hear my family coming through the front door, so this is a perfect time to stop. But alright everyone, like this video if you did, if you didn't, subscribe to me, you'll get more of me. Alright everyone, have a good day, bye-bye! Mwah!